Hello, welcome back. So this is the first lesson after the introduction, and I'm assuming at this point that you have bought yourself a practice pad and some sticks. And for this lesson, that's all you're going to need, okay? Obviously, if you have something to record yourself with, you can do, although it's not essential for this lesson. Again, we will probably not really be using a metronome at this point, but if you're thinking about your next purchases after you've bought your sticks and your pad, I would be definitely looking at a metronome next, and hopefully you're going to just use something like a smartphone maybe that will do everything you need it to do, and that should hopefully have no cost attached to it. And you need something to record yourself on. Now, the problem for a lot of people is if you're using a smartphone to record yourself on, it might be pretty hard to use your smartphone as a metronome as well. Metronomes you can get very cheaply, so my Tama rhythm watch is certainly at the top end. I think this was over £100, certainly with the stand that I attached to the drum kit. It was a lot of money. But you can buy small, cheap sort of pocket metronomes for next to nothing. You know, they're £10–20 maybe. Most of them are digital these days. You probably might have seen in films the old sort of ticking clock metronomes that have a weight. I think a lot of piano teachers still favour those, but it's about the only instrument that does. But yeah, really important thing for the next few lessons coming up is to have something to keep time and something to record yourself so you can hear. Okay, so holding the sticks. There are two grips in drumming. One that I will not teach you. I'll show it to you, but I won't teach you because it's dying out pretty quickly. Okay. The other one is the drum grip, stick grip that I will show you, and it has three variations, which you will have to learn all three variations because you use them in modern drumming. Okay. So the first one is called traditional grip. Okay, the left hand is held differently to the right hand, and it looks like this. And it is, some people still learn this grip occasionally because you can do some great things to show off with it, etc. But this grip came from the tradition of military snare drumming, because you have a drum mounted on your side, and if you hold them like this, you can't reach around. So the idea was you changed your grip on your left hand so you could play the drum on the side of your body. Okay, this grip is called traditional grip because it is the tradition of drumming. It is the traditional way of playing a military snare. If you watch jazz drummers through the sort of 40s and 50s, they used this grip because it's the only grip they knew. They kind of, do lots of bouncing on the snare drum, playing the right hand in a matched grip style. And this is, as I said, it can do some great spectacular tricks with this grip, but it is pretty much not taught anymore. In fact, if you look at most of the top modern drummers in the world these days, I would say at least 9 out of 10, maybe even higher, getting close to 10 out of 10, don't use traditional grip anymore. It's only some of the old school guys who still use it. And I would guess 20–30 years from now, no one will ever use it again. It will be a lost form of holding drumsticks, which is no big loss really. We don't really need it these days. The grip I will teach you is called matched grip. And it's called matched grip because your hands are matched. They literally do exactly the same thing as one another. Okay? And there's three variations to matched grip, and you are going to have to learn all of them because you will use all of them. Okay, but first of all, let's get the grip right. So the first thing you've got to do is you will wrap your finger and your thumb. They do not touch, they don't meet, but they will have a gap either side that you could probably fit the thin end of your drumstick through. Maybe, maybe not, depending on your finger thickness. And this acts as a fulcrum. So the idea is you can just push down with that fulcrum. Then what happens is these three fingers, which are free, come underneath the stick. Okay, and you will use those to flick and get faster speeds out of the stick. Okay, so those first two fingers, the finger and the thumb, are reasonably tight on the stick because that's the fulcrum, so they've got to add pressure to allow the fulcrum. These stay loose, these back three fingers, and just flick the stick. Okay? And that is how they work. Okay? So that is called matched grip. Fulcrum, thumb and first finger, index finger, other three fingers underneath to flick the sticks. Okay. Now there are three variations of this grip and you are going to learn and use all of them. Okay. The first one, which is the first grip you are going to use in these lessons, is called the German grip. And it is called the German grip because it comes from orchestral drumming. What you'll notice with this is that the tops of your hands are facing upwards, okay? Which means your hands, your arms will come in from the side, elbows need to be reasonably close, a little bit of a gap between the body and the elbows, and the way this grip works is that you raise the wrist and bring down, okay? Your sticks, you'll notice, will form almost like a V, upside down V in front of you, okay? When you hold drumsticks, you hold them about 2 to 3 inches above the drum or the pad in this case. And you should find that you lift the stick up, hit, and there might be a little bit of a wobble, but it will come back to the spot that it started. And that is what I want you to practice. Try not to hit your own stick. German grip. When we do rudiments, German grip is the grip you use. When you're playing on a drum kit and you want something to be fast, you want speed, probably on the same drum, German grip is normally the grip you'll use. Next grip is called American grip. Okay, so where this one the hands were facing straight up, you're going to turn your wrists about 45 degrees from where they were. Okay, so there to there. So the backs of your hands now are pointing out those ways on a 45-degree angle from your body. Okay? American grip. American grip is what you play predominantly when you're playing on a drum kit. Okay? It gives your hands the right angle to move around drums that are all in different places, cymbals that are all in different places. Okay? And we'll get to what is a drum and what is a cymbal in the next lesson. But American grip is like German grip, but you just turn your hands. So instead of your backs of your hands facing upwards, they now face 45 degrees out. You should have a bit more of a relaxed space here with American grip as well. It's only when you get to something of speed that you'll tighten up and close that gap. Okay. The last grip is called French grip, and there's only certain times you will use French grip, but you will use it all the time. And where German was backs of the hands facing up, American was 45 degrees, we have French grip where your thumbs are now facing up and your backs of your hands are facing directly sideways. Okay. Now in this context, playing on a pad, it seems ridiculous, but this is the grip you use when you're playing on cymbals, okay? Especially the ride cymbal, and again, next lesson will teach you what the parts are, but essentially this is what you'll use when you're playing on cymbals with the hands that are on the same side as that. Okay, especially the ride cymbal, you'll use your French grip. Again, the fingers are underneath, they flick up. You've got your fulcrum point, it's the same grip, it just goes from German to American to French. Okay, you will not generally use French grip for hitting drums, you'll use it for playing on cymbals. And it's called French grip because it comes from the French orchestral percussionists. The big kettle drums, or timpani as they're known, that is the grip you use when you play a timpani. I know because I've been in an orchestra and I've played timpani. And that is what you'll use with the big white tipped fluffy mallets on your timpani. That's the grip you use, okay? But you also, in a drum kit context, you'll use it like that, okay? So drum kit, you'll use your French grip, you'll mostly use your American grip, and occasionally when you're on one drum, especially if you want to get some speed, you'll use your German grip. When we're doing rudiments, you want your German grip, and pretty much that will be the only grip you'll use, okay? So, practice. 2 to 3 inches off, hit, 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 hit. Look at the sticks once you're finished. Have they got back to the same point? Okay. German grip, I want you to spend as long as you can, hours if you can, just doing this, getting it right. Okay. Then once you've got that right, turn your hands a bit to American grip and have a go with that. Okay. Although we'll mainly use this for a drum kit, we'll also use it for this one. And not too much time, but have a go at the French grip as well. Because it is weird, your hands do play it slightly different to the other two grips, because the thumb is the main fulcrum point rather than both fingers, because of the angle that it's at. But don't spend too long on that. Most of the time, German grip. Okay, that's your first lesson. So, just to recap, we don't play traditional grip anymore, just really not used. We use matched grip, and that comes in 3 variants. German grip, American grip, and French grip. When playing, especially in German grip, which I want you to do most of your practice on, 2 to 3 inches off the drum or pad, bounce back up to the same spot. Okay? Bend the wrist, don't move the arms at this point, that will come later. So bring it up so it's perpendicular to the other stick and down. Great. Hope you found that informative. Keep practicing. I'll see you next lesson.